We're on the doorstep of greatness right now. We've been bootstrapping this project, Musiconomi, since the spring. All of us, the team here. A couple of us since late 2016. Coordinating calls and meetings in 6 different time zones. And we finally made it. We're here. I mean, it's been it's been crazy. We have almost the full co-founder team here. Minus Jared Grigo, but we have a man who has battled the vicious winds of a Hong Kong typhoon just to be here today. That's Dan Phifer. But also wanted to just thank a few people again, because, you know, we couldn't have gone through this process without co-found it. Wanted to thank Jan and Daniel again, and the whole team. I want to give a special shout out to Nasia, who has just done a bunch of great work for us. She joined the co-founded team this summer, helped with project management and marketing and everything. So I know she's watching right now. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. All right. So we're gonna, this is a live Q&A. We're just going to be answering some questions that have been submitted to us in the past, and then we're also going to have a special guest. Quake Matthews is here. He's going to play a couple songs live in front of you. So looking forward to that. Anyway, so we're going to jump into the first question. And here it is. Will Musiconomi run on the Musicoin blockchain? Let's bring in Dan Phifer to answer this one.
So yeah, short answer is no. It's something that we've talked about a lot as a team. Of course, that's where we all came from. That's how we all met. And I spent, I guess, probably 9 months or so working full time on, you know, helping to launch that project, and, you know, building the web app and the smart contracts and all the back end services. And so I think our initial plan was definitely, we're going to run on the Musicoin blockchain. Let's go. And as we started to talk to our community and our advisors and internally, we started to see that there was a lot more risk associated with that. There were a lot of really good reasons to be running on the Ethereum blockchain. And, you know, the first thing was that there's going to be 2 different tokens in this scenario that would be running across 2 different chains. And for users, I think that was going to be very complicated. We started to think about, okay, people are going to be confused. There's 2 tokens. They're also going to be confused by the fact that they're on 2 different chains. And, you know, how are you going to acquire both of those tokens if you need them? Maybe you go to one exchange and you can only get MCI, or you go to another exchange, you can only get Musicoin. And so from a user's perspective, that was going to be confusing. And then just as we started to think through the technical side too, we'd spent a lot of time just trying to deal with the fact on the back end that we're running on 2 different chains. And that would really just delay us pushing out the kind of core features, the most important things that, you know, we think makes Musiconomi what it is. And we didn't want to be distracted by that. And then of course, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I actually got this question on the NeoCash podcast yesterday. I took a crack at answering it. It wasn't as technical as you just said, but at the end of the day, we have to do what's best for the project, what's best for the artists, the users. This is not a personal taste type of thing. It's not like, hey, what do you guys think? It's not like a 3-man decision here. We have to look at the entire scope of the project and the future over the next 5 to 10 years.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think that a lot of that initial, you know, desire for us to run on the Musicoin blockchain was sort of just because that's where we came from, and that was sort of a nostalgic reason. But I think, as I said, as we started to talk to our advisors in the community, I think that reason didn't really stand up. And there were other good reasons too, was at the Ethereum blockchain, there's a lot of other projects already running on there. It's very easy for us to integrate with new partners, and a lot of new projects that are going to come on the Ethereum blockchain, in the next 6 months and a year. And so I think that was one of the biggest selling factors for us, is just that it would be so easy to build new partnerships.
Excellent, man. All right, so let's move on. We got next question here. So what is the coolest and most exciting part of the Musiconomi project? I don't know how you're going to answer this, but Elio, take it away. I mean, there's so much here. Which one are you going to go with?
Well, I guess, maybe from a personal level, primarily, it was kind of really cool just to reconnect with Brian, having been a big fan of his band, and going back many years, having seen him play in a bunch of different places. And so, I mean, that was really cool. But I think in general, I keep remembering back to when I first saw Vitalik Buterin talking about Ethereum, well before the launch, when it was still just in the conceptual stages. And he talked about the kinds of problems that it would be able to solve. And he had a bunch of examples, and he talked about supply chains for corporations, so you could trace things that were ethically sourced and ecologically sourced, and it's going to start to make that kind of stuff really transparent. But what he ended up saying was that he said, once we got to 10 or 20 different uses and potentialities for this platform, he said there are going to be hundreds that come in from other people, from the community, from future users that we can't even begin to contemplate now. And I see Musiconomi as being the same way. So we can talk about usage of the tokens and the different features and tools, and 5 or 10 or 15 potential ones that we can think about right now. But it's this element of the creativity coming in from the community, and the ability of entrepreneurs with their creativity and their the desire to create value and to collaborate. 5 years from now, I can just see that where we have started with this and what it's going to look like. It's going to be this this whole sort of forest that really kind of started with just this small little shoot.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think maybe the person that asked that, they might have been looking for like a token feature or something. But I mean, you're touching on what's, I think, more appropriate here. It's about working with the people, the artists, the partners, all the people that are going to have been already reaching out to us. I mean, that's really the fun stuff, and like putting this all together to make this an amazing project.
Yeah, because I mean, we're getting these calls and these emails and messages all the time from people that, and it's not surprising that we're getting music schools and different kinds of producers and distributors and labels and all these people coming out of the woodwork that want to connect and be partner with us. But just, I mean, how fast it's happening. And I mean, some of the things they make sense, but we didn't really think about those in the first place. But now we look at them and we think, yeah, that's perfect.
It's like all the people reaching out it's kind of almost like a delayed reaction of what we ourselves had like a year ago or 8 months ago. And we just like first start working on the project, just the light bulb, like, whoa, like I have to be part of this. And then we did. And now other people are having the same feeling. It's like, oh, I want to be part of this in some way too, with my own business as a partner, whatever. But let's move on, guys. So our crowd sale, the pre-sale starts August 29th at 5 p.m. Central European Standard Time. So we have a few questions about that. So next question, what is the minimum contribution that someone can give in the pre-sale? Dan.
Yeah, so there's no minimum contribution, and I just want to make sure that I assume that's what the person was meaning to ask, but I think I want to cover for co-founded, if you happen to be talking about the CFI tokens, then to be in the pre-sale, their minimum is 5,000 CFI to be eligible for the day 1 and day 2 pre-sale. But other than that, there's no minimum. So yeah, and that's what day 1 is really all about, is allowing everybody to get in, even at a lower amount, and allowing people who they're not planning on giving huge amounts, but they want to be in the pre-sale. And I think a lot of times they miss out because the much bigger contributors are paying a lot more to get their transactions in. So we want day one to really be about getting a wide base, but yeah, no minimum.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's just move on to the next one. It's like this one, it sounds kind of funny, but I think some people actually want to know this. Is like, how much will one MCI token cost during the crowd sale? Like,
so we'll have 25 million tokens that are up for sale, and the price of each one of those tokens is going to depend on how much we actually raise. So if we end up raising only $3 million, then I think the price is around 12 cents.
12 cents, yeah.
12 cents.
And if we hit our cap, then it'll be closer to 25 cents.
Yep. One time. Simple math, right? Yeah. It's the money divided by the number of tokens released. So 6 million tokens divided by 6 million dollars divided by 25 million tokens. That's how you come to 24 cents. Anyway. Next question, it's actually right back at you, Dan, is what's the financial benefit for the token holders apart from just like sharing songs? That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. MCI it's a utility token. And so what that means is that you're going to use it to get, to enable features on the platform that may have something to do with, enabling certain blogging tools, being able to have influence on the platform, like boosting artists, we've been calling it backing or boosting, and so that your vote on which artist should be promoted will have more weight the more tokens you have. The sharing example is one where you can actually go out and do something and you can earn more MCI, or you can earn a reward for actually promoting in a very direct way. And our plan is that the token is the core of the platform, and so we're going to constantly be looking to add more features, and some of those may be features where you can enable some way to earn additional tokens, or there'll be additional features that you can just get more use out of the platform or have more influence on the platform.
All right. Okay. So yeah, next one. I'm going to throw this one at Elio. We had to delay the crowd sale, and we made a couple tweaks to the business plan, and we also changed the hard cap. So we've had a few questions come through along these lines. So this one is, why was the hard cap reduced from 18 million to 6 million? Elio.
Okay, well, there were a number of considerations that had gone into this. And one of them, I remember just Dan really from day one always seemed really uncomfortable with the idea of raising all this money that you don't need right away.
Yeah.
We see these other crowd sales that are raising 30, 40, 50, $100 million. And really, do you need that much money right now? And is it really just a situation where you have one crack at it, one kick at the can, and that's it, and raise as much as you can, and then that's all you get going forward? And so when we were developing the token model, it was it was Daniel, the co-founder, really, that talked about having these allocations for strategic partners that would enable us to bring in additional partners down the road as we grew and to help us grow. And then we also looked at, well, then maybe we could take that and we could expand that with a different allocation of future uses, almost like having a second raise once we had actually produced something and we had a working platform, maybe perhaps fairly basic, maybe just, in a beta mode, but where we were able to showcase something and people could see the value and start participating actively and see that there was something there. Because, as much as we did with Musicoin and, the level we brought that to, we're kind of starting from scratch, essentially, to go back and build something that's bigger and more expansive than that, but we haven't got it yet. And 6 months and 8 months or a year.
Yeah, there's certain features. Yeah, there's certain features that we kind of showed the proof of concept with, in the web application that Dan built. But yeah, like what's being unlocked with the token and all the new features that we've been adding to the business plan. Yeah, it's so this really gives us almost like a second raise
once we've had an opportunity to show that we are creating value with a first smaller raise. And I think we're all a lot more comfortable with that, not holding on to so much money all at once. We know that, you know, it's just going to sit around for a long time. So we're all more comfortable with that. And it lets us have more of an organic approach to this, as opposed to, you know, some of the big crazy numbers that we see.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I chatted with JJ at Neocash yesterday about this, and his reaction, like, he was surprised that it was so low. And he was almost like taken aback. He's like, wow. He's like, people are raising, you know, up to $250 million in these things. He said it's refreshing, you know, to see this approach where it's just more, you know, more calculated and smarter. And that was his analysis of this. Like, he respected what we're doing, and the limits that we're setting. But anyway, so we're going to move on. This is kind of two separate questions, really. How will Musiconomi help new musicians, and won't bigger musicians just outspend them with an advertising budget, I'm assuming, on the platform? So Dan, I'm going to come to you in a second here, but like, how will Musiconomi help musicians? I mean, that, like, I would ask people to read our business plan. It's like they're going to make more money than they are in other places. They're going to have more opportunities. They're going to have more tools and features that'll enable their career offline and online in a way that just will not exist anywhere else. I mean, so that's my crack at the answer for the first part. But Dan, you want to kind of expand on that?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, I think, well, first of all, if you have someone, a musician that comes on board that happens to have a whole bunch of, you know, advertising budget that they can spend both on and off the platform. I mean, off the platform in particular, obviously there's no way to stop that. We wouldn't want to stop that. Obviously they can, you know, promote themselves however they want to. But I think what we will give is musicians that don't have that huge budget a whole new way to tap into, you know, social promotion. And so finding, you know, your fans and finding new fans and finding, you know, these more entrepreneurial users who are more like promoters, but they're not necessarily in the business of promotion, but they might be doing it from home, and they, you know, they just think it's exciting to come onto the platform and look for the newest artists and the newest releases and say, hey, no one's ever heard of this guy, but they should. And go out there and promote those people. And I think giving the artist an opportunity to, you know, adjust how much reward they want to give for the sharing allows them to say, well, look, you know, I really want to get a wider audience. I'm not so much worried right now about trying to make as much as possible per stream, so I can, you know, give people an incentive to go out there and share my music. So I think in that regard, we're giving some new tools to these newer artists. And I think that's something that you won't be able to find anywhere else.
I think it's
awesome.
I think it's also an element of, you know, the band or the musician, the artist, the producer, the creator can engage their fans. They're engaging the fan base that they have, and encouraging them and being able to reward them to do that distribution work, to do that promotion in a way that really they haven't been able to do before. And I mean, I think that's really what it is, engaging that core of fans, like your biggest supporters, so they can go out and, you know, be your advocates and ambassadors.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There was, there was something that it was just in a recent blog post that we put up about how the musicians, in addition to these rewards that people get for sharing, is there's these other ways that musicians can give some benefit to the people who are backing them or who are boosting them or sharing their music. Is that, we'll have this idea of exclusive content that, they can, for instance, if someone helped the artist to raise some money to put on an extra show in, Chicago, that you could say, okay, well, we've got a live recording of that show, and I'm just going to make that available to the people that helped to raise that money as a special, thank you. Or there could be some other, behind the scenes sort of thing. So I think
helps them build community, right? The bands can start, the artists can build community and fund and incentivize and reward community.
All right, guys. So we have a bunch of people watching on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for being here. If you have a question, just type it in the chat, and we're going to address a few of those after our special guest comes in. And that special guest is Quake. Quake Matthews.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, let's bring on Quake, Rob. All right. Pleasure to have you here, man. I mean, Brian was kind of the liaison on getting you here. And I mean, you got a lot of buzz going on right now. I got a couple questions before you start playing a tune, man.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. It's a pleasure to be here, man. It's super exciting what you guys are doing. And yeah, man, I'm definitely behind it.
Cool. So, I mean, you're an independent artist, and I mean, you've been gaining some traction. You actually got a couple hits on radio right now. And so why, like, at the stage in your career, why would someone like you bother using Musiconomi?
Well, I think like as an independent artist, like, that's the wave right now, is being independent. The connection with your fans, the direct relationship with your fans and supporters is very important. So for example, like if Joe from Minnesota went and spent a bunch of money on me on iTunes, I don't have that data to know that he did that. So with this, it would be like more of a community. So I know who's supporting me and I can reward them accordingly. Do you know what I mean? So it's more like personal. Like I have the data of actually who's supporting me. You know, when you go into a Radio Shack to buy batteries and they take your phone number down or your email and want to be entered in, you know what I mean? Every business gets that data except for the music business, it seems. If someone buys your music on iTunes, you don't know. Apple keeps all that information. So I like the idea of being able to know who's supporting you, have a direct relationship with them, build a community, and reward them accordingly and give them incentive to support you.
Man, very well spoken. I mean, even when you're just talking, you sound like a poet. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's but one more. So it's like you actually, or someone who just graced the cover of Rolling Stone is like a huge fan of yours. Please explain, who is it? How did it happen? How did you feel about this?
Yeah, it was Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and we had just released this single. It's called Confessions, and I woke up one day and someone sent me a text message and said Justin Trudeau just made a Spotify playlist of all his favorite songs, and our song happened to be on there. And I had no idea how it happened. So I was just basically puzzled, but thankful for it. But then a week later, you know, just out of sheer fate, he was in Halifax and we did get a chance to meet him. And he said that, yeah, he came across the song and he really enjoyed it. And yeah, it was a cool.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, let's play one of these songs. So you're going to play a song called Just Got Home now. So yeah, if you want to start queuing that up.
Yes, sir.
Take it away. Take it away, buddy.
I've been on my grind. I was on the road just trying to get my shine. I saw them sights, I saw them big screens and them flashing lights. I travel astray, doing what I had to do to trying to get paid. Take a look at my lifestyle, is it all worth it? Do I really gotta trade my soul for a purchase? Tell me, would you judge me if I did it? What's the verdict? Knowing there's no money if you try and be a wordsmith. Man, I go on the road, these girls fly my way. But back home, they wouldn't give me the time of day. I guess it's hard luck, cause then I seen chicks way out of my league get starstruck. How can it be? Drake told me I'm mad nice, but I still feel like I'm up against the sun with a flashlight, hiding in the shade, grinding, getting paid. Come back home and I'm a lion in a cage. Fire in the rage betrays how I feel when I feel like my skill is a waste. Wait. Hey yo, I'm ill, but ill don't pay the bills when there's no bills coming in my way. Wait. Last week was all flashing lights. Now it's back to this average life. Hey yo, I just got home. I've been on my grind. I was on the road just trying to get my shine. I saw them sights. I saw them big screens and the flashing lights. I traveled astray, doing what I had to do, just trying to get paid. Last week was all flashing lights, but now it's back to this average life. And yo, I just got home.
Yeah, throw those headphones back in, man, so we can hear you. But Quake, that was awesome, dude. We're actually going to move on to some new questions, and then we're going to bring you back in maybe 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Play another tune.
Okay.
that was cool, man.
Thank you, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So yeah, so guys, make sure that your mics are back on. And then yeah, I think Dan and Brian adding some of those questions in that document. As we're doing that, some of the live questions that have come through. There's a quick one. It's one of our new helpers. He goes by Fires of May. People were asking, is he part of the team? Brian Byrne, everybody. Yeah, this is your first appearance today.
Yeah, well, Fires of May is definitely a part of the team. He started as just a really great voice in our Slack, and started answering questions when we weren't present or couldn't be present, and really was up to speed on not only what we were doing, but also a voice and very up to speed on what co-founded were doing. He's just a really calm, a considerate human being, and he's been super helpful in our Slack. So yes, he is part of the community. He's actually the official community moderator right now in Slack. If you have any questions, ask him, because he actually probably knows more than I do about the project. So
yeah, he's a pretty smart dude too, man. I mean, I've been chatting with him. Yeah, he's kind of, I mean, I guess he's an example of like how people kind of become part of this team. You know, it's like that. If you kind of break it down, all of us individually, that at some point, that's what we did. We just kind of reached out and started talking to others and trying to contribute, you know, to the project based on our past experience. But yeah, certain people, they just, the passion just like jumps through in their communication. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, we had a conversation, actually, myself and Fires May, about that, and just how, you know, how you can, you know, appreciate somebody's spirit and their energy, you know, and know if somebody's sincere about what they're working on, or is it just a, you know, here's a project, we're not really invested in this, but we hope that you invest in this, or some weird pile of nonsense. Mm-hmm. He got a really good feel from all of us collectively as a team. And we felt the exact same way. So you're right. It's just such a neat thing to be able to put those feelers out there and understand somebody and get a good sense of them, and then watch it grow in the exact same philosophy and spirit that you hoped it would. You know, those other people, as Elio would say, just vibrate right into your space.
Yeah, but it's Mayank Jain, I believe, is how you pronounce his name, and I'm sure he's smiling right now watching. I hope he is. But yeah, he's been very active in the co-founded forum as well, and just, you know, he's just a good dude. So anyway, here's something else that has kind of been popping through with questions. People are starting to ask about post crowd sale environment. Like, what are we going to start doing? When's the platform going to be active? Like, when's the alpha version coming out and everything? But over the next few months, I know I've got some questions. Here's something for you, Elio, is what about like festivals, events, speaking engagements? Are you guys going to be doing that over the next 6 months?
Definitely. One of our first challenges and one of our first areas of focus once the crowd sale is over is to map out over the next 6 months and even a year, because a lot of these big festivals and conferences in particular, you need to start planning and booking for later this year to be in for next summer. So we've got a really good team of advisors and music industry people and consultants that that have all kinds of ideas of where we should go and who we want to talk to, and offers are coming in to speak on panels and at conferences all the time. So I think it's one of the first thing. Well, Brian and I have already started talking about how we're going to narrow that down and how we're going to itemize and prioritize which ones. But I guess the short answer is yes, you're going to see us out there speaking and attending for numerous conferences, essentially all over the globe. It's looking over the next
absolutely
months. So
yeah, I mean there's events going on all over the place, just like blockchain meetups and
there are some bigger. There's some ones that we've identified. Some sort of really key music conference events. Like there's a big one in Amsterdam, and there's a big one in Shanghai in the fall. And then there are many obviously, but it's prioritizing some of these bigger ones where we've already got a lot of the contacts that are going to be there through our team and our network of advisors. So a lot of those meetings are already being set up for us now. And now it's just going to be essentially walking into many of those and then figuring out which other ones make sense for us.
Absolutely. And it kind of goes hand in hand with another question that's coming through. It's like, what about marketing? What's your approach? How's this going to grow organically? Like up until we launch like the alpha version of our application, which will be roughly maybe January. Yeah, we're going to be around. We're going to be on social. We're going to be doing live streams like we're doing right now. A lot of the ideas that I've been kind of doing some of the legwork on behind the scenes is like kind of like a Musiconomi TV type of thing where we do showcases for artists. We can actually start sponsoring some bands offline, go into some shows and start talking to artists, working with them directly.
Yeah,
go ahead.
A lot of it is going to come from partnerships and a lot of cross-promotional type of stuff. We've got a number of partnerships in the works that we just, we're busy right now with the crowd. So they're almost on the back burner, but they're announced already, at least one, and then there are all the advisors as well, but bigger partnerships, expanding on those partnerships and formalizing them and then doing cross-promotional marketing activities. You're going to see a lot of that. That's really what we're geared towards. That's really what we're focused on doing. And there's going to be a number of them ready to go over the next probably 2 to 3 months right after the crowd sale that you'll start to see these announcements coming out. And there are some even going to come up before then, but not ready for us to announce yet.
Cool. So yeah, Brian, don't mean to put you on the spot here. But we got some questions.
Oh yeah.
Like they're like, hey, when's Brian gonna play live on camp? When's he gonna play some songs himself? I mean, it's like what I know we were chatting before the show about this. I was just kind of running it by you, but yeah, I mean, you can answer this, but I'm thinking maybe we do this, in a month or something where, and then also like, what are you playing live? Are you still writing? People want to know.
Well, I'm happy to play live on this if we do another, or when we do another Q&A or a live feed. Be happy to. I don't know how many people be interested in it, to be completely honest, but I'm happy to do it always. I might be on tour with Quake, selling his merch or something like that at that time. But I think the thing for me, in all honesty, I spent so many years on the road and so many years making albums, and I was, with a band, and then in between when my band was not doing things, I would try and write solo records or, even like singles or anything to sort of just keep things going. And aside from being, active and relevant, but just to put, money into our family and make sure everybody was taken care of. Right. And I think that I made a lot of poor decisions based on the cycle of a record and the cycle of a record as it's viewed, by the legacy system. So the next time I do something, it'll be on my time and for the right reasons, and not because I feel pressured or I feel like I have to or anything like that. Because I think that some of the least creative and worst music in the universe is put out like that, where artists feel pressured to be back out, caught up in the cycle to make sure that they can, feed themselves. And that's no way to do it. And that's why I see Musiconomi being a big help too. Yeah.
I always remember like the old, like 5 album deal, packages that artists did with labels, whereas, they were trying to lock them up over a 10-year span. Album 1, awesome. Album 2, okay. Album 3, not so great. I mean, that was like seemed to be the path of everything. And it was because they were writing in an environment that was not, conducive to like true creativity. They were just kind of, shackled by the deal with the yeah.
Well, you think about that scenario too, where, you got signed by one guy or one girl or whoever it was, right? And you had a full team around you. From the time you get from album 1, even possibly you know, partway through album one, your entire team has changed. There was never any certainty that that same team that signed you was going to be the same team that worked you. And so if you became, you know, all of a sudden you're not a priority at the label or whatever, those things can really hurt you. They can hurt the band. All of a sudden internally, everybody's kind of, you know, not doing what they should be doing. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I mean, that's why I reached out to Quake. I'm so interested, like for a young cat who understands what's going on, you know, to have ownership over everything. And he never ever says, he also never says me or I. When he said, you know, when he heard the news about Trudeau adding it to the playlist, he said our song. He always uses that community collective, you know, we, us, our, that kind of thing. But still, he's maintaining control of his entire career. He knows exactly what's going on. And that's really interesting to me.
Awesome, man. And we're right on schedule here. So Elio, maybe final words for like a minute and then we'll bring Quake back.
Maybe just go back to Brian for a second. Do you have any live shows coming up anytime soon?
Me? Well, I'm gonna go to Toronto October 1st and play a couple of cover songs actually at a thing called Closer to the Heart, which is a benefit for the Regent Park School of Music, and it's actually for it's an after-school program for at-risk youth, which I think is an incredible charity and cause. So I'll be there doing that, and hopefully with Elio and one of our cats, Mike Turner, and you know, hobnob with some old friends, industry and artists, and get them all you know, hooked up on Musiconomi, and again, look forward to getting to the school and talking to some of these kids and their program. Perhaps they'll let me show them how to warm up properly for rock shows.
Awesome, man. All right, Quake, you ready to rock, man?
I am.
All right, so we're gonna oops, getting a little echo there, but this song is called Confessions, and I believe this is the one that Prime Minister was going nuts over. So take it away, man.
This is the one. This fast life that I lived, the flashing lights and the blackout nights just like this. Would you sacrifice your sanity while looking past my sins and forgive my crazy friends for the trouble they got me in? I was as stubborn as an addict with a habit for arguments, scarred with a troubled past and some of the darkest of intents. But if I make a conscious effort to clear my mind of this pressure and cross your heart and promise you'll accept it.
These are my confessions, I trip on my words, a simple collection of bridges I burn. Don't wanna make it leave. Wish this was make-believe. These are my confessions and lessons I learned. My conscience, my reverend, yeah, you are my church. Hope that you understand. You make me a better man. Oh, 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 oh. I guess today is the day that them angels collided with my demons, trying to provide reasons to the people that I cheated. The guilt has been built in the air that I'm breathing. I tried whiskey, I tried pills, and I tried Jesus. I feel a chill in the air as I'm airing out my grievance. The hair standing up on my neck like fans standing for the championship national anthem high on the bleachers. Somebody please just be my preacher. These are my confessions, I trip on my words. A simple collection of bridges I burn. Don't wanna make you leave. Wish this was make-believe. These are my confessions and lessons I learned. My conscience, my reverend, yeah, you are my church. Hope that you understand. You make me a better man.